experience in information technology and cybersecurity with a career that began in 1999 and expanded into security 2016 after earning his CISSP certification. Holds an impressive range of professional certifications including CISSP, CISM, CCCP, CCSK, and many others, alongside a cybersecurity degree with Voris University. Actively supports the next generation of security professionals through his mentorship program, offering guidance and career development for newcomers in the field. He's also a U.S. Army veteran, bringing discipline and leadership from military service into his IT and cybersecurity career.
Testing. All right, can everybody hear me? Excellent. So today we are talking about mentorship when certifications, experience, degree, and skills are not enough. And the reason why I did not include networking is because it would have been too damn long to put on there. So there's that. All right, so who came here looking for a mentor? All right, I like that. A couple of hands. I love it. Yeah, that's cool. Come on. All right, so who came here looking to become a mentor? Oh, I love that even better. This is exactly what we need right here. Who came here looking to learn about the process, how it works? That's even better. Okay, who wants to get a drink after this? Everybody that raised their hand. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right.
Why do we have to wait?
No one said we had to. Crack a cold one right now. So this is me, Brad Voris, whole bunch of acronyms, security professional. I've been an engineer, manager, architect. Now I have 26 years of experience. I've got an undergrad in cybersecurity, lots of certifications, CISSP, CISM, CCSP, CCSK, MTA, Network Plus. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So I've co-authored, actually now I've co-authored 3 books. One intrusion detection guide, one essentials in cybersecurity, both through Peerless, and another that was through another third party, and I've got it linked off of my site. I've done contributions for the Cloud Security Alliance, specifically on Zero Trust and AI, which is not on there. And I also do not claim to be an expert, as much as all that kind of contradicts it. So, this is what I get to hear all the time. So I get people that reach out and they're saying, hey, I'm trying to get into security. I'm trying to get into IT. How do I break into cyber? I built a home lab. I got some certs. My professor told me all I needed was a degree. Really? Okay. It's funny is my professor told me the same thing too. Top 1% of try hack me and hack the box. Lots of people. Lots and lots of people. I've been in IT for years and can't get a security analyst role. I'll be honest, that was me. That was me. And then I custom tailor my resume for roles, but I don't get responses back. Well, I mean, look at the issues that we have in today's day and age when we're trying to get submitted into an organization. We run into the exact same problems when we're doing submittals. We get ATS, these automated systems that are looking for targeted keywords. We may have some of them, we don't have all of them. Some of them look for specific experience. Now we're starting to leverage things like AI and machine learning within these hiring processes, and they're instantly kicking candidates back. They're not bringing them. They look and they go, okay, well, your resume doesn't meet this criteria, or it meets some of the criteria, but there are far more candidates that are out there that are likely to meet that. So, what are leaders looking for? Are they looking for unicorns? Are they looking for purple squirrels? Are they looking for ninjas? Or a combination thereof? My daughter loved this, by the way. I thought it was perfect. Purple, ninja, squirrel, unicorn. This is what they're looking for. So I went and I did research. I pulled together right at about 50 roles. I looked at, and I used a little bit of AI, just to be completely honest, basically to correlate a lot of this data. I looked at things like job experience, requirements, educational requirements, job certification requirements, and then the skill requirements across the board, all of these. And you notice there are a lot of the same stuff. Does this really go to really prove the point of security jobs, cybersecurity, analysts, engineers, even junior roles, intern roles? Are they really looking for someone that's entry level? Not at all. Not at all. I mean, you look at the majority of experience that they require for a lot of these security analyst roles, it's 3 to 5 years. They're looking for someone with a bachelor's degree. Yeah, you're coming out of college with a bachelor's degree, but you don't have any job experience. You're struggling to try and find something. And then they look for certifications like a CISSP. Yeah, how many of y'all coming straight out of college with 3 to 5 years of experience have a CISSP? You know, what kind of load is that? Now, the reality is when it comes down to things like job skills, wherever you have worked in the past, I don't care if you are working at McDonald's or you are working someplace, you know, cleaning up after animals, it doesn't really matter. The key things for the majority of roles were all soft skills. What are they looking for? They're looking for verbal communication. They're looking for written communication. They're really looking to see, do you know the basics of systems? Do you know the basics of networking, basics of servers? You understand ports and protocols? They want the bare fundamentals for a lot of these security analyst roles. They're not asking for a lot, except for all that BS that's up there, which I find, you know, completely ridiculous, if it truly is an entry-level role. Reality is they're not. And all of this information is available on my GitHub. I'm more than happy to share and go into great detail if you would like. So, breaking it down and looking at what are the top 10 skills. Again, verbal communication, written communication, yeah, you'll get diagramming, but I mean, honestly, everybody in IT and everybody in security should be great at documentation, right? Right? Yeah, I see the smirks and the sneers. Hey, that was, most of my life was doing that, and that's why I've gotten where I am today. Vulnerability testing, you know, that's kind of de facto standard. Risk analysis, SOC monitoring kind of goes. Intrusion detection, regulatory compliance, security frameworks. A lot of the basic fundamentals. This is what they're looking for. But one thing that, as a IT professional, cybersecurity, information security, the one thing that I hear, like I've been very, very privileged to go have dinner with some of the greatest CISOs, greatest leaderships in security. The one thing that I hear constantly, and I know some of y'all can vouch for this, is passion. You have to have passion for what it is that you do. You have to have passion. It doesn't matter if you're the greatest at what you do, but if you have passion to learn, you have passion to earn, you have passion to do what it is, you can be successful. It just takes time, a lot of effort, understanding, adaptability. That's a lot, but you can do it. It's not that hard. Just work at it. Go ahead. Really? They're OSCP?
No, I'm asking.
I mean, not as an entry-level role.
Well, that takes that documentation.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, are you really looking for an entry-level person with an OSCP? To be quite frank, not really. No, you're looking for somebody with a lot more experience. They have hands-on, specifically in penetration testing. They know about enumeration. They know about ports, protocols. They know that. They have a great understanding. They can run Metasploit and do SQL injections all day because they've got that experience. But I mean, the reality is for an intern, entry level, are they gonna need that? Maybe a junior penetration tester, but if you're hiring a junior penetration tester and your requirement is an OSCP, it seems a bit much. And you're also gonna have that pay gap there as well that they're gonna struggle with, trying to find that candidate. Now, if it's one of those things where it's not a requirement, but it is a suggestion, I don't have a problem with that. This is a suggestion. Because I know a lot of candidates don't read suggestion, they just see requirement. What do they want to do? Sure. You want a Security Plus? That's a great start. You know, there's really no predefined requirements for Security Plus. You can go, you can take it, go take a class, you can go do online YouTube, spend several hours, you can go do like a Boson pre-exam, hop in there, go take the test, maybe pass it, maybe not. Ask them. Have them write something. All it's gonna be is something small. Look at the resume. If they don't write a good resume, they need help. And that's what a lot of what I do. And I know I'm gonna transfer off of this, but we can also go into a little bit more. And I think these are great questions, by the way. Yes? Yes. Yeah, I agree 100%, and that's why it's there. So, in general, my mentorship program, again, all mentorship programs are roughly the same. What are we looking for? We're looking for that initial connection where a mentee will get like a career planning guide, some kind of paperwork that says, hey, this is what you need to do step by step. What are your skills? Where are you at? Do you have a roadmap for yourself? That way you know where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow and where you want to be in a week and where you want to be in 6 months and then in 9 months and then up to a year. So you have an idea of what you're going to do. This goes back to your comment about documentation. They fill this out and they look at it and they're like, okay, well, I think I know what I want to do. Versus, yeah, I'm just going to go randomly pick a couple of certifications right off the shelf and then try my best and hope that that's going to solve, my hiring problem. That doesn't work. What else? I do research quite a bit, and that's what's entailed in this security analyst research. For me, every year I try and do 50 to 100 roles. And I do this for security analysts, I do this for engineers, and I do it for managers. I have not had an opportunity this year to do engineers and managers, much more than about 20 each. My hope is to get that done a little bit sooner next year so that I can provide that information for everybody so at least you get an idea of what roughly these roles are requiring. It's a big challenge. I mean, even when I was hiring, I'm not currently hiring, but when I was hiring specifically for architects, and that's a hard sell because you need someone with a vast amount of experience. Certifications are kind of all over the place, and it really just depends on how they fit within that spectrum for that role, as well as things like, do you have certain regulatory compliance? But the reality is for a lot of this, they don't need that. So what I typically do is I do 1-hour sessions just to do a one-on-one. Who are you? Who am I? What do you want to do? What's your current education? What are your expectations? What do you want to do in the future? And this is one of the biggest challenges I come across. And I really, really dislike it when I have a candidate that comes up to me and says, so we're going to have this conversation. And I'm like, yes, let's have this conversation. But what I don't want to hear is when I go up to you and I say, why do you want to be in cybersecurity? Why do you want to be in information security? Money. Okay, well, that's a great answer. I like working for money too. But the reality is this comes back to me circling around to passion. If you have passion for technology, people process data and technology, that right there is the emphasis that puts back that says, hey, I like to learn, I like to do things, I want to try something new, I want to adapt, I have ability. It's a lot of struggle. Yes? No, I usually razz them a little bit before I say we're done here. There's money. Money will come. Initially when you get into some security analyst role, depending upon, I do have pay metrics as well for that role within my research. And you're talking within the Houston area anywhere from about 75,000 upwards to 150 for security analyst. Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very wide amount. When you look at outside of Houston, and that can range based on your major metropolitan area, your geographical location, upwards of 200K, which to me is kind of crazy, but then also are the requirements that step up for that. The reality is the money will come. May not come instantly, but the money will come. You'll get that. Right now, focus on bettering yourself, building that skill set, building out your credentials, building your network. That's one of the other things that I like to do too, is making sure that individuals are establishing their network. I mean, look, I've got 25, 30, maybe even 40 people here. This is how we do it. We go out and we talk, we go to conferences, we get on LinkedIn. We say, hey, I've been working on this. And I really emphasize this to a lot of my mentees. What can you do? Go out and post it on LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. Show me what you can do, because the moment you show me what you can do, I see you've got skills doing documentation. I see you can do a diagram. I see you can build a home lab. This is how we help establish ourselves. This is how we help establish our network. So then I look and I go, all right, what else can I do for you? So we do resume reviews, I do mock interviews, I do LinkedIn profile reviews. You know, are you ticking all the little boxes? Do you have all the skills that you need? You know, you want to do a skill assessment, you want somebody to come in and, you know, look, you say you can go and do penetration testing and, you know, you've run the gamut on this OWASP setup and you do this, 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 and this. Show me. How does that work? Tell me how it works one-on-one. I got time. I'll always make time. Because to me, establishing this not only helps me keep up to date and understand what's going on, but it helps to build that next generation of security professionals, of technology professionals. They get that hands-on, they get interaction where normally they're stuck in school, they're stuck in the military, they're in a dead-end job they're not happy with. They don't have that interaction. They don't know what's going on outside of what they already know. They need that. So, further network development. Again, you know, you got to put more effort into it, and I emphasize this. I've got a lot of mentees, 100 plus. For me, it's put the effort in, put the effort in. Try and make yourself as visible as possible. I mean, even for me, I'll be honest, I am an introvert, I am not an extrovert. This really bothers me, but I have to do it. I have to get out of my comfort zone, and I have to preach this to all of my mentees. You got to get out there. Just put yourself out there, put yourself out there, put yourself out there. Get some visibility. Show what you can do. If you show people what you can do, people will be interested. They will want to know who you are. They will want to learn. And eventually, with a little bit of guidance, a little bit of career planning, you can start taking off. You'll have that help. For my mentorship program, and again, like any others, what's the catch? So, I mean, the reality is, there's no fees. There really shouldn't be for mentorship. Again, we're trying to build up that next generation of professionals. Technology, security professionals. If we're charging them, we're doing them a disservice. They need help. They need our help to get them ahead. And someday, maybe me, I'll be down in a rut, I'll have trouble with an employer, I will be unemployed, and one will come up and say, hey, yeah, you helped me get established. I want to help make sure that you get yourself established or reestablished. It's important. This is why we have a network. This is why we have this big support foundation of security professionals. This is why we have HughSecCon, to help each other, to learn, to grow. That includes supporting that next generation. Be respectful of time, your time and mine. This is one of my biggest things outside of knowing what you want to accomplish. You know, you had mentioned, you know, what is like an instant deal breaker? Okay, I understand not everybody knows what they want to accomplish. I know I kind of skipped that, but I get it. You know, you're going to get into a career field and there's so many options. You know, so many variables that are out there. There's so many certifications and, you know, so many degrees you can get and so much of this and that. But what really irks me is I go out of my way to provide time for people so that I can help them better themselves, and then they don't show up. They don't respond. It's like I could have been helping someone else that needed that help, and that was important to me. And I want to make sure that I can provide that service, but don't take that service away from someone else that probably deserves it more. That's the one thing that really gets me. That kills me. Frequent updates are required. So I've got lots of mentees, and literally I'm getting emails, I'm getting text messages, I'm getting Discord messages. I have mentees all over the globe. They're great, and a lot of them do monthly, some of them do weekly. My wife does get a little perturbed when I get a text message at like 2 a.m. And she's like, why are you getting a text message at 2 a.m.? Well, you know, Samar said, hey, you know, I just want to let you know I got that interview and we're moving forward and it looks like I'm going to get that role. And I'm like, awesome. I know I got to turn it off, but I can't all the time, but you know, it is what it is. The last thing is, once you've arrived at your place in your career and someone comes up to you and says, hey, I need help. I have a question. Put yourself out there, especially for the people that want to be mentors. Go out there and help. Just listen. Hear what their grievances are, especially with AI right now. and people doing submittals for roles, there's gonna be a lot of grievances. I submit and, you know, I'm getting instant rejections. Just listen, see how you can help them. It's important. Without us supporting them, at some point they're gonna need to support us. And we need to make sure that we're available for that. All right, so I'm gonna open it up for Q&A. I know we've had a little bit of Q&A, but whatever y'all wanna ask me, you know, as long as we don't need an NDA or it's not, you know, my current employer specific, feel free to ask. Yes, sir.
Very broad field, a lot of different technologies.
Yes.
It's very daunting for individuals that have not had exposure or experience. Do you ever use the Japanese concept of ikigai?
What is that?
So it's a Venn diagram of
Oh.
what are you good at,
Yes.
what the world needs, what can you get paid for, and
I've used it before, but I've never as called, you said ikigai?
ikigai.
Not as that being called that,
Specifically
ikigai.
on your previous sentence.
Yes, and that's a lot of what the career planning guide is designed around. I mean, basically it's a giant Excel spreadsheet where people get to go in and pick and choose their flavors of the month of what they know, what they're good at, what the range is around that. So they can look and say, okay, well, I know I'm good at these things. Because a lot of people, they still don't know, even though they're good at some things, where they've got some certification, some education, where they would be a fit. And that helps transition them into that role of, oh yeah, by the way, you're good at these 10 things, and these 10 things are like the top for this specific role. And that's awesome. You might be really good.
I love that you led with good, because a lot of times I've seen people gravitate towards, where's the money?
Yeah.
You chase the money, rather than do what you love, do what you're good at, the money will get there after you spend some time with the matter. I love the sound of my own voice. Thank you.
Next question. Yes?
Curious, what did you do in the Army? Did that help you to get your cybersecurity role? And would you recommend other people join the military?
So I'll do the last part first. Would I recommend people join the military to build out their cybersecurity career? Absolutely. There's a ton of opportunity in the military, regardless of which branch you go into. Air Force, Marines, even Coast Guard, Army, doesn't really matter. Navy, Space Force, is that one? I don't know, it might be, I don't know. But yes, that's a great opportunity. For one, you're gonna learn all those basic skills. You learn to communicate with people, whether it's written, it's verbal, you learn how to follow orders, you learn how to just do things. And surprisingly, a lot of people can't just do things. So that's awesome. And they give you a lot of structure and discipline. For me, when I got out of high school, that was probably the one area that I lacked the most. I mean, yeah, I like drinking and partying, and we'll leave it at that. But I lacked a lot of discipline. And that helped me get centered and find discipline and structure. Now, as far as my MOS, my military occupational service, so it was multiple launch rocket systems. So 32 Yankees. So basically what I did was I was around multiple launch rocket systems, and I did board level diagnostics to do replacements. Come in, and I had some prior experience in electrical engineering, so come in and you get a board and you put it on a tester, you do validation. A lot of times you're out in the field and you don't get a tester, so you basically do a tester on field, and then you slap it in, you do a couple of test launches, and you go. That's it. Did that really help for my technology, InfoSec? No, not a damn thing. I mean, not at all. But again, that helps structure and set discipline for me. It's not for everybody. I've got one mentee that I've been working with, and he's considering going into the military. And I'm like, okay, just keep in mind that it is not an easy transition. You know, initially you're going to have to go through basic, depending upon which branch you go, you're going to have, 6 to 12 weeks worth of training, and then after that you're going to go to your AIT. After AIT, you're going to go into your military occupation, and then from there it's just like working a 9 to 5, depending upon what your military occupation is. Now, I support that 100% if that's what you want to do, but be realistic about whether or not you can do that physically, and less physically, more mentally. Because it is a challenge, and it's hard for people. I'm going to do you, and then you, and then you, okay? Yes? Yeah.
Yeah, so first, if you allow me, just to add in there,
Yeah.
be problem solver. I think that's one of the things you learn in the Army. Doesn't matter where
Mm-hmm.
you're solving problems, you're dealing with time pressure, you're dealing with. So that's something. If you are able to put it on the table, exploit it, I think it's a very good leverage to your career.
I agree.
But to my question, a little bit back to the certification. I've seen a lot of people that try to go to the most important, biggest cybersecurity certification.
CISSP, CISM, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I would say my recommendation, I've done this to some colleagues I work with, junior engineers, you know what? Go to CCNA.
Yeah.
Master that first. And it's incredible how much I didn't think it was going to be that way. But
Yeah, it's on there.
that has helped me the most.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
I know what your thoughts about it.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. And honestly, if you look at like networking as just being like a core fundamental skill, it is absolutely a requirement. I mean, not only do you learn switching and routing, but ports and protocols, you learn firewalls, at least baseline with the CCNA, but it is also one of the more higher required certifications for a security analyst role. So yeah, I think that's great. That is a perfect example of something that definitely fits within scope for that specific role. And getting someone in, if they have a CCNA, I mean, you can go and take a 6-week boot camp or a 4-week boot camp and hammer that thing really hard, and then get your CCNA, and then you're ready to rock and roll. And if you don't get into security, you now have landed yourself at least a network engineering role, or maybe even a network analyst. So that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Where were we? Yes, and then we'll come back to you. Yes?
So I wanted to add to Mr. question. So I came from a different perspective. I was a single officer. That taught me, as an enlisted person, that taught me as he was alluding to discipline. I didn't have any. I wasn't physically active. It got me physically active. And it teaches you mental resilience. As an officer in Singapore, it set me up for success going into cybersecurity. It gave me I had to get my network plus, my security plus, and then on top of that, if somebody finds themselves downrange in Kuwait, they should have opportunities to go to schools, or like we call trainings to get them certified. So there's plenty of opportunities for people that go into the military to re-up or to get specialized in various aspects of cybersecurity. On top of that, I learned how to read people that were of high ranks and give technical talks or just give them bluffs, and that's how I learned bottom line up front. And just quick spiels of this is what you need to know or what you're looking for in telling yourself.
Yep, that's good. That's real good. Yes, sir.
As someone that has no background, just trying to transition into the field,
Mm-hmm.
what should I start at?
What do you want to do?
I'm not sure yet. This is like my first big step into it.
Okay.
I know technology is evolving. I want to get into it.
Okay.
At the moment, I'm a vet tech.
All right.
Just being here, I learned a lot of information. I learned about the red team, blue team, the purple, the IT, the whole.
OT, yeah. So let's have a conversation after this, and let's start looking at what we can do from a career planning perspective. What it is that you already know, what you would like to know, where you would like to go, and kind of plan it out. You, and then you in the back. Thank you. Do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a confidence thing, I think. I think it's a confidence thing. You know, so what his question ultimately was is he has mentees and he's trying to get, they'll have an incident, they'll have, you know, something that goes on, you know, he asks them go do a little research and then come back and say, hey, you know, what did you learn from this? What did you gain out of this? And they're slow to come back or slow to respond or not respond at all. Sound about right? I think it's a confidence issue. I mean, the reality is, you know, imposter syndrome. We all have it at some point in time or the majority of our careers. We're afraid to get up, we're afraid to speak, we're afraid to do things. And it can really put a hamper on our career and our developmental growth really as a human being. We have to be able to go out there. And I think what it comes down to is, you know, either having one-on-one sessions with them individually and be like, look, let's sit down, let's go through this and kind of be targeted to try and find out how we can improve this and make sure that you're able to stand up and say, hey, I learned this and this is why I did this or this is how this happened and what we can do. Or do it as a group. But it really depends on the comfort level for those particular mentees. And I've had the same issues. Like I've had mentees who've come up to me and they, you know, they're like, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. And I'm like, okay, show me. And they can show me. And they're like very tactile. But when I say, all right, well, let's go present something or let's go get something loaded. Let's go do something. And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, I get it. Stand up, move forward, get it done. Okay? And some people are just not, I mean, I'm not 100% comfortable coming up here, but I got to do it. You know, I got to make sure that I'm not the only person that's out here talking about mentorship. I know I'm not, but it's a big thing. I want to make sure that people have opportunity. I want to make sure that they're not alone. Because when I started in IT 26 years ago now, 26 years ago, I mean, it was a long time. It was a completely different world. There were no mentors. There was nothing out there. I mean, you found somebody who, if you were lucky enough to get into IT at the time in the 90s, and they were gracious enough to like not throw stuff at you and, you know, kind of guide you into a direction of not breaking something or possibly breaking something, because that's also beneficial. That was awesome. And I had a really good boss that basically just let me screw up as much as I possibly could until I learned how to do things right, at least right at that employer. And that really helped me. That helped me grow as an individual on top of the military and getting that level of rigor and discipline. Next question? Yes. It's okay. Yeah. This is why we do research. I mean, the reality is I come in this research, it's not listed here, but if they want to see what remote roles, like from these 50 roles that I scavenged through and was able to do correlation for the data, the reality was there was probably 8 out of 50 that were full-time remote. And then the rest were either hybrid or full-time on-site. And the majority of security analyst roles are typically on-site from what I've seen. So how do I deal with that? It's like, look, you got to be realistic, you know, and I know it really sucks, especially if you live in an area where there is not work. I get it. That makes it that much harder, especially if you want to be a security analyst or an engineer or a manager or you want to be a CISO. It doesn't matter. Regardless of what your role is, you're going to have to adapt to that. And if adaptation means you have to move or you have to go in or you have to work a certain time slot, you're going to have to do it. How badly do you want this? It goes back to passion. Do you really want to do this? Because if you really want to do this, then you really have to put the effort in. Let me see what I've got for time. All right, I've got about 10 more minutes. Yes, sir. Sure. So for these 50 roles, I basically scavenged through Indeed, I scavenged through LinkedIn, I pulled all of that data into more or less Notepad, and then I started taking all of the individual, we'll say, buckets of data that were specific to like education, buckets of data that was specific to skills, that was specific to certifications, and all that. Pulled it into AI and said, come on, correlate this data. Because initially I was trying to do it manually. Last year, I was doing it all manually. So 2024, I started doing this in 2021. And I was doing it all manually before ChatGPT and Copilot and all these were really much more readily available. Now I can take all of that data, cram it in there and say, find out what the top skills are based on all of this data that I'm chunking in here. Usually you can pick those out relatively quickly. You can tell from what I've been selecting what's real and then what's not. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So you really have to be you have to scrutinize what the role is and what the requirements are around that role. And the reality is, for those roles, looking at the data, you can kind of tell when they're mostly on spot. And when they're not, there's usually a lot of red flag indicators. Like they're going to be asking for something that's completely not relevant, that's far-fetched. And those are typically the roles I just go, no, this is junk. This is not going to fit. And I pull that out. Because that's really, good data in, good data out. Okay. Sure. I have time for one more question. All right. I guess I answered everybody's questions. I feel good. Well, good. We can close this up, and I really do appreciate everybody attending my talk. If anybody wants to meet afterwards, you want to hang out, connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, please. If you are, like I said, if you are looking for a mentee or you want to become a mentor and you're not part of the HUSECCon mentorship program, please get with me and I can help you out. I'm very happy to. You all have a good day and enjoy lunch.